Hey guys, my name is Dr. Sharnael Wolverton Sehon. I'm with Swiftfire and we're here in Dallas at some meetings here, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about electric signature, coding, and rebooting and where we're at right now, just because we just had a situation and we're actually going through a few situations right now of purging. We're in a season of purging. And when there was a lady, a friend of mine that we're here with, and she had a situation that I'll use as an example, because I really, in expressing this to her and explaining to her where we're at and how this situation came up and it had affected her, I started realizing as I was explaining to her that maybe not everybody understands all this, and so I just thought it would be a good opportunity to go ahead and share, because there's other people who are probably going through similar situations that might not have connected the dots, or could actually have a perception of this being something difficult or hard or wrong, when actually this is a really good season of purging and a really good thing. So I'll give you a specific example just so you can understand, and please do tag and share, because I know that there's going to be some people who may be caught up in the emotions of some of this and not understand or realize, but be able to connect those dots and be able to have a grid for it. So in the process of purging and or just shifting, which is where we're at right now, especially with Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, which is the season of a new year, and all the different things that have been going on this month and are going on this month in this season, even with 2017 as a year of real purging. But in this specific situation, I'll just give you a real good example so you can have like some anchor to hold on to. We're in these meetings, and we are specifically because it was 9/11. I made a point not to watch anything on television or see anything on Facebook or anything to do with the whole 9/11 thing, because 9/11 happened 17 years ago, but the media wants to reboot us with showing scenes from that over and over and over, and or even like memorials and different things, because there's code to all that. And if you can keep the trauma going, then there are emotions going, and there's wounds going, and there's things that are not complete, then cycles that are not complete, and we stay kind of in this trauma loop. And so the frequency and the code for that is there's just a signature there, a residual of that, and the media will try to keep you connected with that. And not saying that it's not sad that happened. Yes, it is, and we do want to honor the people who lost their lives to help all those people. That's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about the trauma part of the emotions of that. Anyway, that being all said, so I made a point like, hey, I'm going to not really connect with that. I'm not going to get entangled with that. I'm going to take a moment to be off of Facebook or the news or all that, because I knew there would be such an attempt to reboot into that system and to bring us all in that, because your consciousness and your imagination is really, really powerful, and the media wants to use your creative power to co-create, because if your focus is on those kind of things and those kind of events, then you will image that and you will project that, and then on a conscious collective, we're all imaging that and projecting that, and not only feeling all those things in your body because those things are happening, but then now we're imaging a nation, because we're connecting with the fear and all the things that happen and the sorrow of those things that happen, and then we're imaging that, which is an open doorway for us to get a match and to create more trauma and more things that happen. So I hope that makes sense. But in the process, I had made a point, I'm not going to entertain that. I'm not going to engage in that. I'm going to just stay off of that, because I really felt like, for me personally, and you do whatever you choose, but for me, this was going to be a time for me to recode the day. I was going to recode 9/11 into a new code of something that was positive and pivotal and brand new and awesome and beautiful, and a rebirthing. And so that's kind of the code that I was going for, and we're in the process of doing some things prophetically and electrically to make that happen. So anyway, that being said, so we're all in this group of people, and we're all really pursuing that and shifting and focusing on those things, because what you focus on you make room for, and we want to image that. That's the image that we're trying to project and to co-create with. So there is at least some part of the consciousness on the planet that's focusing on those things instead of the other things, right? To recode. And in that process, it was interesting. This girl, and I'm not going to use her name, but I'm just using this so you understand. We're recoding, we're focusing on gratitude and love and peace and all those things. And then she gets an opportunity to go meet with someone from her past. And this person wasn't necessarily a bad or a good person, but she apparently, what I'm understanding, used to live here maybe 8 years ago, and there was some trauma in her personal life connected with this person. And out of nowhere, this person, has an opportunity to connect with her. They were going to go grab lunch. Well, we were up till like 3 a.m. doing some things and shifting some things, and she ended up sleeping in through her alarm clock and didn't get to meet up with the person. Now, you know me, I'm a person of my word, and I like to follow through with what I say, and she definitely is. Integrity is a big deal. To be integrated and to say what you to do what you say you're going to do is super important to integrity and keeping that. And she felt really, really bad about it, and she couldn't go back and fix it. And she's like, hey, please vote victory. I'm choosing to forgive myself and just get over it. I'm having a little trouble, like, getting over the fact that I, like, slept in and didn't meet up with this person and da-da-da-da-da. And my response to her was, hey, I guess your body needed it, A. And B, she wasn't supposed to meet with this person. And I knew a little backstory, not a whole lot, but I knew a little backstory. And to be honest, with every person, there is a signature, an electronic signature or code of that person and or events that happen within the person. It stays in the field. And so if she is in the middle of reprocessing and recoding, and she had maybe not had some healing in all the areas that needed to be healed, and she would have connected with that person, that signature would have looked for a hook to anchor and to stay and to keep from the recode happening, and to anchor her in and keep her in that loop, in that trauma loop. And so I was like, just saying, hey, you just weren't supposed to, so just be fine with it and be cool and forgive yourself and love yourself and apologize for sure. And that other person wasn't upset at all. And so she was free of any of that. And it was interesting. We had some equipment here, similar to like a Rife, that we can scan and figure out what's going on energetically, of what's off or whatever, so we can rebalance. It's like a biofeedback. And when she tested, she had never done it before. It's called Genius. And I was like, hey, you know what? Why don't you get on this software and check it out? And I just knew that cutting the cord, which is one of the programs on there, was going to be one of the top ones that was an issue because of what had just happened. Intuitively, I just was like, oh, I bet you cutting the cord is one of the things, because she's going into this new level, this new coding. And so sure enough, that was the one she scored the highest on, is like cutting the cord. And so I say all this to say, there are seasons of being with people. There are seasons of being with new people. There are seasons where you're not with people, even if it's family. There are seasons where, you're not, luckily I have an amazing family of unconditional love. Not everybody has that situation, but sometimes there's times when different people, whether friends, family, job, whatever, there are seasons where you just come and go, and you have to be okay with that. You got to be fine with that, because your electric field, your body is, especially in that recoding process of this time right now, where we're purging and we're also rebooting into this new code. So I sure hope that makes sense, and maybe even gives you a little bit of sigh of relief and understanding of that you're not crazy, that if you don't feel like you're supposed to be around certain people, then maybe this is a time for you to not be around certain people, and to kind of just bring yourself in, let yourself be rebooted, recalibrated, healed up. Because when you are healed up and you're whole, then there's no entry point for that code. It will just, and especially if you're decreeing I am that I am, and your code is so strong. Remember, we have frequency hopping, and so frequency hopping is a big, big deal. And real quick, I'll give you a tiny thing, is I did a video on this, but what's her name? Hedy Lamarr came up with this ability and this invention back in World War II to be able to go after the submarines. And when she went, she gave all this great invention to those in war, because when we were going after submarines, we were just like, let's shoot in that general direction and we'll just hope for it. And we would miss, because, we would be off and it would miss. Well, she came up with the understanding that she could actually dial in to the frequency or the code of that specific submarine, and then you could lock in and you could hit it every time. Even if it moved, you would know where it was going to go, because you would lock into the vibration and the frequency of that submarine. Well, guess what happened? The Germans got it, everybody else got it. Next thing you know, everyone's doing the lock-in, and we're not wasting artillery. We're blowing up stuff. So not a good deal. So she came up with frequency hopping. And frequency hopping was a way to scramble the radio waves, or the waves that were around the submarine, to hop from one frequency to another, to another, to another, to another, to another, to another, so fast and so quickly that they could not lock into one code. They couldn't lock into that. And so it would scramble everything around the submarine so much that they couldn't lock in and they couldn't make a hit and blow it up. And it would be so scrambled that, again, it would be like they were invisible. They couldn't find them. It was just this whole, like a shield around them that blocked them from being able to lock in on any certain equation. And so same thing with your body. When we decree, this is the strongest frequency of energetic sound that comes out. Your heart is the most electric, and so anything you think upon and anything you imagine, you put out, which is why we were trying to recode 9/11. But so if your focus and your frequency is on love, then love code comes out, and you're out there, or whatever. If it's fear, or whatever, that's what's going to come out. And different things can lock into that. You only get a match. And so for us, if we can really focus on I am, and remember that God's in us, the kingdom of God is within, then and I am that I am, and we are, that God is love, and love is in us. Love and God are all the things, which is one giant frequency hop, because God is provision, He's might, He's power, He's nurturing, He's the comforter, He's all the things. The I am that I am is all those things, which is a lot of different sounds and a lot of different frequencies to hop all over the place, that puts up the shield of this thing around you, where you're in the 9/11. I mean, you're in Psalms 91. 9/11. You're in Psalms 91, and that is a scramble around you where nothing can lock in. Nothing negative can lock in. You can only get a match to love, peace, power, presence, and all of that. Those are the only things that can lock in. Everything else is completely scrambled. So I hope this makes sense to you. Does this make sense to anybody? Can you guys just let me know if you're following me and tracking at all? I hope so. But I know that's a lot of information in a really, really short time. And I love you. And I hope that you're spending this time as we are, just to recode, to purge what needs to come out, to pay attention to the things that are coming up and not hate them necessarily, because when any kind of trauma that's in you is going to lock into an organ and remain dormant until you take a look at it. And usually it'll come up in patterns, or it'll come up in dis-ease when it's ready to be touched with love. And if we don't touch it with love, then what happens is dis-ease, patterns, or reaction. You can tell that someone's in reaction if there's if someone's coming up with trauma, if there's some kind of reaction. Think about medicine. You can take medicine and you can have a response, which is really good, or you can have a reaction, which is not so good. But either way, it's going to come up. And when it does, we have to be responsible in how we take care of that and how we respond to that. And so what we can do is we can either look at it and love it, which is going to crash the program and then give you more space for love, or we can hold on to it and hate it and deny it and push it down and suppress it, and then it's going to go back into the organs where that same sound or frequency is still going to be there, and it's going to come out into your biofield, and you're going to keep getting those dumb patterns. They're going to keep coming back to you because you can only get a match, or you're going to keep getting the emotions or the dis-ease that comes with it, because the symptoms will come up. Or like I said, it's time for us to turn around, look at it, love it where it's at, accept it, have unconditional love for yourself, and actually love where you're at, accept where you're at, be okay with whatever it is, whether it's fear, hate, all the things, and just go, you know what, I hate this. I'm okay with hating that. I accept me hating this right now and be totally good with it. Look at it, and when you recognize it, by recognizing it just alone, most of the time will be the thing that crashes the program. And when that trauma is crashed and recognized and touched with love, and you touch yourself and go, hey, I love you, you're okay, you're good where you are. I said touch yourself. When you touch that pain and go, pain, you know what, I love you. It sounds terrible. I know it sounds off of what you think you should do on a human level to love your pain or love your hate, but yeah, if you could look at that and recognize it and go, yeah, that really sucked that happened, and I'm okay, and I'm just going to be okay with that and love it, and take a look at it, that's what squishes it, that's what crashes it, and then that space is open for love. Then instead of holding that trauma, there's new space there for more things to come, and for you to attract more of the God things and more of the God patterns and more of the God people and more of the peace, the love, the healing, the understanding, the wisdom, the dreams, the visions, the provision, all the things. So really, honestly, please, would you please tag and share this, because I think this is a really now time for us, and it's okay where you're at. It's okay to be with who you're supposed to be, when you're supposed to be there, to love where you're at, to accept where you're at, to really evaluate where you're at and who you're with and what you're doing, and ask yourself some questions like, am I being true where I'm at? Am I truly being authentic? Am I loving well? Am I being loved? Am I enjoying my job? Am I enjoying my relationships? Am I on track? What's going on with this heart right here? Am I following true north here? So I love you. I send you light and love in this season. Again, this is an awesome season. So take advantage of it. Take this opportunity to really use it for your best new you in this new year coming up here. It's not just around the corner, new year. The 18th of September, and right now we're in this whole season of this. So I love you so much. I send you lots of love. Oh, if you're not following me, follow me on Facebook, follow me on Instagram, subscribe to my YouTube. I have a lot more understanding of this in a slower pace and more bite-sized pieces, so you guys can go back and track. Okay, love you guys. Talk to you soon. Bye.